When the noise stops, the city feels larger, not emptier, larger, as if the sound itself had been pressing everything inward, compressing space, and now that it has lifted, the buildings can spread, the streets can widen, the sky can settle closer to the ground. You are walking through an industrial city, just after the shift has ended. The workers have left, not suddenly, not all at once, but gradually in groups and alone, trickling through gates, dispersing into streets, moving toward homes and meals and rest. The last of them disappeared minutes ago, or perhaps an hour ago. You cannot tell. Time feels different when the rhythm of work stops. The streets are cobblestone, dark, and from rain that fell earlier, or from condensation that settles every evening when warm air meets cold stone. The stones gleam faintly under gas lamps, reflecting light in scattered, uneven patterns. The factory walls rise on either side, brick, red brick, darkened brown by soot and time. Tall walls with narrow windows, most of them dark now, a few still showing faint light from somewhere deep inside. Walls are solid, permanent, built to contain noise and heat, and the movement of hundreds of people and machines working simultaneously. But the noise has stopped. You can still feel it, though. The memory of it, the vibration of machinery that ran all day, that shook floors and rattled windows, and filled the air with constant, layered sound. That vibration has faded, but not completely. The walls still hold it. The ground still holds it. Your body expects it to return at any moment. It does not return. Instead, there is quiet, not silence, never complete silence in a city, but quiet, the absence of industrial roar, the space where that roar used to be. You approach a factory gate, iron, tall, black paint worn to rust in places. Her hands have gripped the bars for years. The gate stands partially open, not wide enough for carts, just wide enough for a person to pass through if they turn sideways. You stop at the gate and look through. The courtyard beyond is empty, paved with brick and stone, worn smooth in paths where feet walk most often, rougher at the edges where carts turn. Gas lamps burn at intervals around the perimeter, creating pools of yellow-orange light separated by stretches of shadow. Steam rises from somewhere, not thick, not dramatic, just thin wisps drifting upward from vents in the ground, from pipes along the walls, from places where heat escapes and meets the cool night air. The steam moves slowly, without urgency, dissipating as it rises. You can smell coal, the burnt, mineral scent that clings to everything in the industrial city. It is in the air, in the brick, in the rain that falls, and the fog that forms. Not harsh, not fresh, just constant. The background smell that defines this place, and oil, and metal, and steam. Layers of scent that accumulate throughout the day and linger into the night. You step through the gate. The courtyard receives you without acknowledgement. The brick beneath your feet is solid, cold, textured with age. Your footsteps sound different here than on the street outside, harder, more contained. The walls around the courtyard hold the sound and return it slightly altered. A door stands open across the courtyard, not the main door. A smaller one, probably for workers coming and going between shifts. Light shows from inside, faint and orange, the glow of gas lamps turned low. You walk toward it, past a water pump, past stacks of crates covered with canvas, past a wooden cart with iron wheels, its handles resting on the ground. The door leads into a corridor, narrow, brick walls on both sides. The ceiling is high, lost in darkness above the reach of the gas lamps. The lamps are mounted at intervals, each one behind a glass shade that concentrates the light downward, leaving the upper portions of the corridor in shadow. You walk slowly. The corridor extends ahead, turning slightly, disappearing into deeper darkness. Doors line both sides, closed, locked, labeled with painted letters you cannot read in the dim light. The air here is warmer than outside, not hot, not uncomfortable, just warmer, as if the building is slowly releasing the heat it absorbed during the day. The walls radiate it gently. The floor holds it. Somewhere deeper in the building, something drips, water or condensation, a steady rhythm, drip, pause, drip, pause. The sound carries through the corridor, echoing slightly, marking time. You reach a stairway, iron, painted black. The steps are perforated metal, allowing you to see through to the level below. The railing is smooth from countless hands gripping it, climbing up in the morning, descending in the evening. You do not climb the stairs. You simply stand at the base, looking up. The stairway spirals upward through multiple levels, each turn visible until the darkness above swallows it completely. The factory is tall, taller than it appears from outside. The floors are stacked one above another, each one containing rooms and corridors and spaces you cannot see. During the day, those spaces are full of movement, of people, of machines running. Now they are empty, silent, waiting. You turn back toward the corridor, walk deeper into the building. The gas lamps continue at regular intervals. The light they provide is enough to see by, but not enough to eliminate shadow. The corridor exists in gradations, light, then shadow, then light again. Another sound reaches you, faint, rhythmic, not mechanical, not human, just the building itself, settling, cooling, the wood contracting, the metal adjusting. The constant, barely audible sounds of a structure that has been under stress all day and is now, finally, allowed to rest. You pass a window, tall, narrow. The glass is old, slightly warped, distorting the view outside. Through it, you can see the street, the gas lamps, the empty cobblestones. The other factory buildings across the way, their windows dark, their courtyards empty. The industrial city is vast. Factories in every direction, mills, foundries, workshops, all of them connected by streets and rail lines, and the shared rhythm of work that starts at dawn and ends at dusk. But now, at night, the connections are invisible. Each building stands alone, holding its own darkness, its own quiet. You continue walking. The corridor branches. You choose a direction without thinking. Left. The new corridor is identical to the first. Same brick walls, same gas lamps, same sense of space extending farther than you can see. The day has ended. The shift has finished. The machines have stopped. The workers have gone home. And you are here, moving through the aftermath, through the space that remains when purpose is removed and only structure is left. The industrial city exhales, slowly, steadily, releasing the tension of the day, releasing the heat, releasing the sound, becoming something different, something quieter, something that exists between work and rest, between day and night, between movement and stillness. You walk on. The corridor continues. The gas lamps continue. The quiet continues. And the city, vast and intricate and built entirely for work, allows itself to pause. The sound is faint now, almost gone, a hissing, soft, irregular, coming from pipes that run along the ceiling, along the walls, disappearing into the floors and reappearing in unexpected places. The pipes are iron, painted black or left bare, the metal darkened by oxidation and soot. Steam moves through the pipes still, not the full pressurized flow of the working day, just residual heat. Water vapor left over from hours of use, now finding its way out through valves and joints, escaping into the air as the system slowly depressurizes. You stop beneath one of the pipes. It runs horizontally across the ceiling, supported by iron brackets bolted into the brick. The pipe is warm. You can feel the heat radiating downward, gentle, fading. A valve protrudes from the pipe. Wheel-shaped iron. The steam escapes here, seeping around the edges where metal meets metal, where the seal is imperfect. The steam rises in a thin, translucent column, twisting slightly as it moves, dispersing before it reaches the ceiling. You watch it for a moment. The steam is hypnotic, visible, but barely, present, but ephemeral. It exists in the space between liquid and air, between heat and cold, between substance and nothing. The hissing diminishes as you watch, not quickly, just gradually, as the pressure behind it decreases, as the water inside the pipe cools, as the system winds down toward stillness. Another sound joins it, ticking, metallic. The sound of expansion and contraction. The pipes are cooling, and as they cool, the metal changes, shifts, adjusts. The ticking is random, but constant, scattered through the building. Each pipe, each joint, each bracket contributing its own small sound to the ambient texture. You continue walking. The corridor opens into a larger space, a workshop, or what used to be a workshop. The shift has ended, and the space is empty now, but the signs of work remain. Workbenches line the walls, heavy wooden surfaces, scarred and stained by years of use. Tools hang above the benches on pegboards, wrenches, hammers, files, each one hanging from its designated hook, each one returned to its place at the end of the day. In the center of the room, a steam engine, not running, just present. A large iron cylinder connected to a flywheel, connected to drive shafts that extend across the ceiling, connected to the pulleys and belts that powered the machines during the day. The engine is still warm. You approach it carefully. The iron casing radiates heat, not enough to burn, but enough that you can feel it from a foot away. The metal surface is smooth, polished by years of cleaning, by hands wiping away oil and dust after each shift. Steam escapes from a fitting at the base of the engine. The same thin, translucent vapor, rising and dissipating. The hissing here is louder, more present, but still gentle. Not the roar of pressurized release. Just the quiet exhalation of a system returning to rest. You place your hand near the steam, not in it, just near enough to feel the warmth, the moisture. The steam is wet heat, not dry. It carries water with it, tiny droplets suspended in a vapor, invisible until they touch your skin. The flywheel above the engine is massive, iron, 5 feet across. Thick spokes radiating from a central hub. During the day, this wheel would have been spinning, carrying momentum, smoothing the irregular power strokes of the engine into continuous rotation. But now it is frozen in whatever position it stopped, one spoke pointing up, one pointing down, the others at angles between. You look at the belts that connect the flywheel to the machinery above. Leather, wide, thick. Each belt runs from a pulley on the drive shaft to a pulley on a machine, a lathe, a drill, a saw. The belts sag slightly now that they are not under tension. Loops of leather hanging in the space between ceiling and floor. During the day, these belts would have been moving, humming. The friction of leather on iron pulleys creating a constant sound, a background drone that was always present, always audible beneath the specific noises of individual machines. Now the belts are silent. The leather hangs motionless. The machinery connected to them is equally still. Condensations forming. You can see it on the iron surfaces. Tiny droplets collecting where warm metal meets cool air. The droplets are small at first, barely visible, but they grow slowly, merging with other droplets, becoming large enough to run, to drip, to fall. A drop falls from a pipe overhead. It lands on the flywheel with a soft metallic tap. Then another, irregular timing. Each drop its own event, separate from the others, but collectively creating a rhythm. The workshop is filled with these small sounds now. The hissing of steam, the ticking of cooling metal, the drip of condensation. The sounds layer together, creating an ambient texture that is not quite silence, but is as close to silence as an industrial space can be. You walk between the workbenches, past vises bolted to the surfaces, past oil cans with long spouts, past rags folded and stacked, past evidence of care, of maintenance, of the rituals that keep machines functioning. The floor here is different from the corridor. Not brick, wooden planks, old, dark, stained with oil that has soaked into the grain over years. The wood is worn smooth in paths where feet have walked most often, rougher in areas less traveled. You can see the grain of the wood, the patterns of growth, the knots and imperfections. The floor has absorbed everything that has fallen on it. Oil, water, metal shavings, dust. All of it pressed into the wood, becoming part of it. Another steam vent ahead, this one larger. Set into the wall at floor level. A grate covers it, iron bars spaced to allow air to pass. Steam rises through the grate, more visible here because it is concentrated, because it emerges from a single point rather than seeping from multiple joints. The steam carries a smell, mineral, metallic, the smell of water that has been heated and cooled and heated again, that has picked up traces of iron and coal and whatever else it touched in its journey through the pipes. You crouch near the grate. The steam is warm on your face, not hot, not uncomfortable, just warm. The moisture settles on your skin, tiny droplets too small to see but collectively creating a sensation of dampness. The sound here is louder, not loud, just louder than elsewhere. A steady exhalation, the sound of pressure finding release, of equilibrium being restored, of a system returning to its natural state after hours of forced operation. You stand and move away. The steam continues behind you. It will continue for a while longer, minutes, maybe an hour. Eventually, the pressure will equalize completely. The steam will stop. The pipes will be silent. But not yet. The night is absorbing the day, slowly, patiently, taking the heat, the steam, the residual energy of 12 hours of work, and dispersing it into the air, into the walls, into the ground. By morning, the building will be cool. The pipes will be cold. The condensation will have evaporated or dripped away, but that is hours from now. For now, the building is still releasing, still exhaling, still transitioning from the state of work to the state of rest. You walk toward another doorway. The steam sounds fade behind you. Ahead, deeper in the building, other sounds wait. Other evidence of the day ending and the night beginning. The industrial city breathes out, slowly, steadily, and you move through it, witness to the transition, present in the space between. The room you enter is vast. The ceiling is high, supported by iron columns that rise at regular intervals, creating a grid of vertical lines against the darkness above. The columns are painted dark green, or were once painted dark green. The paint has chipped and faded, exposing the iron beneath in patches. The space is filled with machines, not packed tightly, not crowded, just filled. Each machine occupies its own area, connected to the others by the system of shafts and belts overhead, but distinct, individual, purposeful in its design. They are all still now. A row of looms stands along one wall, tall wooden frames with iron mechanisms. The looms are complex, heddles and shuttles and beams and countless moving parts, all of them frozen in mid-position, all of them waiting for morning when they will move again. You approach the nearest loom. It is taller than you, wider than you can reach with outstretched arms. The wood is worn smooth in places where hands have gripped it, where bodies have leaned against it during long shifts. The iron parts are darker, touched less frequently, maintained with oil that leaves a thin sheen on the surface. Thread is still loaded in the loom. You can see it stretched across the frame, vertical threads of the warp, horizontal threads of the weft, partially woven into pattern. The fabric that was being made is incomplete, stopped mid-row, waiting for the weaver to return and continue. The shuttle sits in its race, the small wooden boat that carries thread back and forth across the loom. During the day, this shuttle would fly, pulled by mechanisms, moving faster than the eye can follow. Now it simply rests, wood on wood, silent. You place your hand on the loom's frame. The wood is cool now, smooth. The grain is visible, darkened by years of handling, by oils from countless hands. You can feel the solidity of it, the weight, the sense that this object was built to last, to endure decades of constant use. The loom looks different when it is not moving. During operation, the complexity of its mechanisms would blur into motion. The parts would become a system, a flowing whole, the individual components invisible in the speed of their movement. But now, still, each part is distinct. Each lever, each cam, each pulley is its own thing, separate, understandable. You move to the next machine, a lathe. Iron bed mounted on a heavy wooden bench. The bed is long, precisely flat, with guide rails that allow the cutting tool to move along its length. The cutting tool is positioned at the end of its travel, still mounted in its holder, still ready for work that is not happening. A piece of metal sits in the lathe's chuck, partially turned. One end is cylindrical, smooth, the surface catching what little light exists. The other end is still rough, untouched, showing the original casting marks. The work was stopped mid-process, left for tomorrow, left for the next shift. You examine the metal. It is cold to the touch. Whatever heat was generated by the cutting process has dissipated completely. The surface is smooth where the tool passed over it, rough where it did not. The transition between the two is precise, a line that shows exactly where work stopped. Shavings lie in the tray beneath the lathe, curled ribbons of metal, some long and unbroken, others fragmented. They are beautiful in their way, silver and gray, catching light, thin enough to be translucent in places. Byproducts, waste. But beautiful, you continue through the room. Past a drill press, its bit pointed downward, ready to pierce but not piercing. Past a grinding wheel, its stone surface exposed, dusty, waiting, past a shaping machine, its ram frozen mid-stroke, the cutting tool extending forward, but not cutting. Every machine is in a state of suspension, ready but not active, capable but not acting. The potential for work exists in each one, but the work itself is absent. A conveyor belt runs along one side of the room, canvas stretched over wooden rollers, supported by a frame of iron and wood. The belt is empty now. Nothing rests on its surface. During the day, parts would move along this belt, carried from one station to another, from one worker to the next. But now the belt is simply a path, a possibility, a route that leads nowhere, because nothing is traveling it. You touch the belt, canvas, thick, rough, stained with oil and dirt, and the accumulated contact of thousands of objects passing over it. The material is stiff, holding its shape even without tension, even without movement. The belt sags slightly where it is not supported. Gravity pulls it down between the rollers, creating gentle curves, loops of fabric hanging in space. When the belt moves, these sags disappear. The movement pulls everything taut, eliminates slack. But at rest, the belt shows its weight, its flexibility, its nature as fabric rather than solid surface. You walk to a work table. The surface is wood, thick and heavy, mounted on iron legs. The wood is scarred from years of use, gouges from dropped tools, burns from hot metal, stains from oil and water and chemicals. Each mark is a record of a moment, an event that left its trace. Tools are arranged on the table, not scattered, arranged, placed deliberately in their proper positions, ready for the next shift. Calipers, micrometers, files, screw gauges, each one clean, maintained, returned to its place. A set of wrenches hangs on the wall above the table. Graduated sizes from small to large, each one on its own hook. The wrenches are iron, some painted black, others left bare. The jaws are worn smooth from use, the handles polished by hands gripping them. Everything is in order. The shift ended, but before leaving, someone took the time to organize, to clean, to prepare for tomorrow. This is the ritual, the completion, the acknowledgement that work will resume and should resume efficiently. You notice a chair near one of the machines. Wood, simple, backrest and seat, 4 legs. The chair is worn, the seat compressed in the center where someone sat repeatedly, where weight and time have changed the shape of the wood. The chair is empty now. The person who sat here is gone, home, sleeping, or preparing to sleep, or doing whatever people do in the hours between shifts. The chair simply waits, holding the space where that person will return. Machines look different when they are not moving, not better, not worse, just different. They become objects again, rather than processes. Their shapes become visible. Their complexity becomes apparent. The blur of motion resolves into the clarity of stillness. A large gear is visible in one of the machines, iron. Teeth cut precisely, evenly spaced around the circumference. The gear is frozen mid-rotation, several teeth engaged with another gear beside it. During operation, these gears would turn together, transferring motion, converting rotation into force. Now they simply touch, metal on metal, unmoving. You can see oil on the gear teeth, applied regularly to reduce friction, to prevent wear. The oil is thick, dark, clinging to the metal. It does not drip. It simply coats, protects, waits for the next time these gears will turn. The room is filled with this potential. Every machine is ready. Every mechanism is positioned. Every belt is threaded. Every tool is placed. Nothing needs to be set up. Nothing needs to be prepared. Tomorrow, when the shift begins, when workers return, when the steam builds pressure again, everything will simply resume. But that is tomorrow. Now is rest. Now is stillness. Now is the time when machines exist without purpose, when they are allowed to be objects rather than tools, when they simply occupy space and hold their shapes and wait. You move toward the far end of the room. The gas lamps here are spaced farther apart. The light is dimmer. The machines in this section are less distinct, more silhouette than detail. But they are the same, still, waiting, ready, the same state of suspension that fills the entire building, the entire industrial city, the state of after work, before sleep, between purpose. You stand still for a moment. Listen. The machines make no sound, or almost no sound, just the faint creaking of frames settling, of wood adjusting, of metal cooling. Sounds so quiet they are almost imagined, almost felt rather than heard. The machines rest, and in their rest, they are simply what they are, iron and wood, form and function. Objects that exist whether they are used or not, whether they are moving or still, whether anyone is here to see them or not. A corridor extends ahead of you, and the gas lamps mark it like waypoints. Each lamp is the same, a glass globe mounted on an iron bracket. The bracket extends from the wall, holding the lamp away from the brick, creating space for the light to spread. Inside the globe, a flame burns, small, steady, fed by gas flowing through pipes hidden in the walls. The light is not white, not blue, orange, warm orange with hints of yellow, the color of fire, because it is fire, controlled and contained, but still fire, still combustion, still flame, consuming fuel. You stop beneath one of the lamps, look up at it. The glass globe is clouded slightly, filmed with soot on the inside where the flame has been burning for hours. The soot dims the light but does not extinguish it. The flame continues, small and patient, doing its work. The light falls downward. That is what light does, but here it is deliberate. The lamp is designed to direct light toward the floor, toward the path where people walk. The upper portions of the corridor remain in shadow. The ceiling is barely visible. The tops of the walls fade into darkness. You can see your shadow on the floor. Long, distorted, cast by the lamp behind you, stretching forward, thinning as it extends, fading at its edges, where the light from the next lamp begins to compete. As you walk, your shadow moves with you. It shortens as you approach a lamp, growing darker, more defined. Then it shifts, jumping to the other side as you pass beneath the light source. Then it lengthens again, reaching forward toward the next pool of illumination. The rhythm of light and shadow is constant, predictable. Lamp, then shadow, then lamp, then shadow. The corridor is not uniformly lit. It exists in alternation, in intervals, in the pattern created by regularly spaced light sources. You enter a stairwell. Here, the gas lamps are mounted on the landings between floors. The stairs themselves are dim, each step visible only because of the light reflecting from below or above. You climb carefully, your hand on the iron railing, your feet finding the perforated metal steps by feel as much as sight. The light from the landing below fades as you climb. The light from the landing above grows stronger. You exist in gradient, in transition, moving through the spectrum from dark to light and back to dark again. On the landing, you pause. A window here, tall and narrow, the glass old and rippled. The light from the gas lamp reflects off the glass, creating a doubled mime. the real lamp behind you, its ghost in the window before you. Through the window, beyond the reflection, you can see the street. Other gas lamps line it, their light creating pools on the cobblestones. The spacing is wider here than in the corridor. The darkness between lamps is deeper, more complete. You see a figure walking down the street, too far away to distinguish features. Just a person-shaped shadow moving through the alternating light and dark. They pass through a pool of light, become visible, solid, defined. Then they enter the darkness between lamps and almost disappear, becoming suggestion rather than form. Then light again, then dark. The figure continues until they are too far away to see. The street returns to emptiness, just the lamps and the cobblestones and the brick buildings on either side. You turn from the window, continue climbing, another flight of stairs, another landing, another lamp casting its orange glow. The corridor on this floor is identical to the one below. Same brick walls, same gas lamps, same pattern of light and shadow, but the space feels different, higher. The sounds of the street do not reach here as clearly. The sense of elevation creates a subtle change in atmosphere. You walk along this corridor, past doors, all of them closed, past a water fountain, its brass spigot gleaming where the light catches it, past another window showing the night outside. The light reflects off surfaces as you move, off the brass fixtures, off the glass in the doors, off the polished iron of the handrails. Each reflection is a small echo of the flame, a fragment of light carrying the same warm color, the same gentle glow. The brick walls absorb most of the light. Red brick darkened by soot appears almost brown in the gaslight. The texture of the brick is visible where light falls directly on it. The roughness, the mortar joints, the individual irregularities. In shadow, the wall becomes a single dark plane. You find yourself in a larger space, a break room perhaps, or a foreman's office. The walls here are half-height brick, half-height plaster. 2 gas lamps burn, one on each wall, creating overlapping circles of light that almost but not quite eliminate the shadows. A table stands in the center of the room, wood, heavy, surrounded by chairs. The table's surface is clean, wiped down at the end of the shift. A tin cup sits forgotten near one edge, half full of water that has gone cold. You sit in one of the chairs. The wood creaks slightly under your weight. From here, you can see both lamps. You can watch the flames. They are identical, but not synchronized. Each flame moves in its own rhythm, responding to drafts and air currents that are unique to its location. The flame is never completely still. It flickers, not dramatically, not violently, just constantly moving, rising and falling slightly, bending and recovering. Living things sustained by flow of gas and presence of air. You watch the flame on the left. It is brighter at the base, where the gas ignites, where combustion is most complete. It fades toward the top, becoming orange, then yellow, then thin and almost invisible before it disappears entirely into the air. The light it produces is warm, not just in color but in feeling. The orange glow suggests comfort, suggests human presence, suggests the kind of light that people have gathered around for thousands of years. Firelight, the oldest light. But this fire is domesticated, controlled. It does not spread, does not consume, does not threaten. It simply burns in its appointed place, doing its appointed work, providing illumination without drama. The shadows in the room are soft, not sharp-edged, not absolute. The light from 2 sources creates complexity, places where shadows overlap, places where light from both lamps reaches simultaneously, places where the darkness is deeper. because no light touches. You notice your hands on the table. The light falls on them unevenly. The top surfaces are illuminated. The undersides are in shadow. The fingers create small shadows of their own, thin lines of darkness on the wood. Everything in the room exists in this state, partly lit, partly shadowed. Nothing is completely revealed. Nothing is completely hidden. Everything exists in the middle ground, in the realm of suggestion, in the space between seeing and not seeing. A clock hangs on the wall. You had not noticed it before, but the light catches its face now. As you shift position, the hands point to a specific time, late, after 10, before midnight. The exact minute does not matter. What matters is that time continues, measured, marked, counting, toward morning. You stand, leave the room, return to the corridor. The gas lamps continue in their regular spacing. The pattern of light and shadow continues. The warm orange glow continues to push back the darkness, not eliminating it, just creating space within it. The industrial city at night is not dark in the way that natural night is dark. Gas lamps line the streets. Windows glow from buildings where lamps still burn. The darkness is punctuated, interrupted, given structure by these points of light, but the light does not dominate. It exists within the darkness, marking paths, creating islands of visibility, allowing movement and work and life to continue after sunset. The darkness remains primary. The light is the exception, the intervention, the human assertion that night should not completely erase the world. You continue walking. The corridor curves slightly. Another stairway appears. You descend this time, moving back toward lower floors, toward the ground level, toward the exit. The gas lamps continue above you, below you, around you, constant, patient, burning steadily. They will burn through the night, some of them. Others will be turned off, their gas flow stopped, their flames extinguished. But enough will remain to keep the building navigable, to maintain the boundary between inside and outside, between light and dark, between the industrial world and the night that surrounds it. You emerge from the factory into open air. The transition is immediate, from the contained warmth of the building to the cool expanse of night. The air moves here, flowing freely, carrying the smell of coal and iron and oil across open ground. The rail yard stretches before you, vast, flat, defined by parallel lines of track that extend into darkness, curving and branching, creating a geometry of iron and wood and crushed stone. The tracks are empty, not abandoned, not forgotten. Just empty. The trains that used them during the day are elsewhere now, in sheds, in stations, stopped on sidings miles away. The rail yard holds only the infrastructure, the permanent elements, the rails themselves waiting for the weight of wheels that is not here. You step carefully over the first set of tracks. The rails are iron, dark, their surfaces worn smooth by the passage of countless wheels. They catch what little light exists from the distant gas lamps, from the moon, if it is visible, from the scattered windows of buildings that surround the yard. The rails are cold. You can feel it without touching them, the way metal radiates cold on a night like this. During the day, these rails would absorb heat from sun and friction. Now they release it, returning to the temperature of the air, of the ground, of the night itself. Between the tracks, the ground is crushed stone, small rocks, broken and compacted, creating a surface that drains water and supports weight. Your feet crunch on the stone. The sound is sharp, distinct, carrying across the empty yard. You walk along one of the tracks. The rail is straight here, extending ahead until it disappears into darkness or curves away. You cannot tell which. The wooden ties that support the rails are spaced evenly, dark rectangles crossing beneath the iron, each one the same distance from the next. A platform appears to your right. Wooden planks raised above ground level, creating a loading dock. During the day, freight would be moved here, crates lifted from wagons onto the platform, then loaded into boxcars when trains arrived. Now the platform is empty. Just wood and space and the marks of heavy use. You climb onto the platform. The wood is solid beneath your feet, weathered but maintained. From this height, you can see farther across the rail yard. More tracks, more empty space. The suggestion of buildings in the distance. Sheds, warehouses, a station perhaps. A freight car stands alone on a siding. You can see its silhouette, boxy in the dark, disconnected from any locomotive, disconnected from any train, just a single car waiting for cargo, for coupling, for the next journey. You approach it. The car is wooden, its sides painted, but the paint is worn, peeling in places, showing bare wood beneath. Iron fittings, hinges, latches, corner braces catch the faint light. The door is closed, latched, probably locked. You place your hand on the side of the car. The wood is cold, slightly damp. The texture is rough where paint has weathered away. You can feel the grain, knots, the places where the wood has swelled and contracted with changes in moisture and temperature. The car is mounted on iron wheels. You crouch to examine them. The wheels are solid, heavy, designed to support enormous weight. They rest on the rails, metal on metal, ready to roll but not rolling. The axles are thick, supported by journals that allow the wheels to turn. Even iron roads pause. That is what this is, a pause. The rail yard operates constantly during the working day. Trains arriving, departing, freight being moved, cars being coupled and uncoupled and shunted from track to track. The noise of it, the hiss of steam, the clang of couplings, the grinding of metal on metal, would be constant, but not now. Now the rails are silent, the cars are still, the locomotives are elsewhere or cold. The rail yard exists in potential rather than action. You continue walking, past another siding where 3 cars stand coupled together, past a switch where tracks diverge, the mechanism frozen in one position or another, past a water tower, its wooden tank high above the ground, supported by a framework of timber beams. The tower is dark, empty perhaps, or full. You cannot tell. During the day, locomotives would stop here. The engineer would pull a chain, and water would flow through a spout into the locomotive's tender, refilling what had been consumed in making steam. But now the spout hangs unused. The chain is still. The water, if there is water, simply waits. You reach the edge of the rail yard. The tracks continue beyond, leaving the yard, entering tunnels or crossing bridges, or simply extending through the countryside toward other cities, other yards, other destinations. But here, at the boundary, the concentration of tracks ends. The ground returns to dirt and grass. The industrial geometry gives way to natural formlessness. You turn back. Look across the yard toward the factory buildings. Gas lamps mark the edges of structures. Windows glow faintly, but most of the space is darkness. The yard exists primarily as absence, as empty space between defined points, as potential rather than presence. Mist is forming, not fog yet, just a thickening of the air near the ground. The temperature is falling, and moisture is condensing, creating a layer of visible air that hovers a few feet above the earth. The mist moves slowly. It does not flow like water. It drifts. It spreads. It thickens in some places and thins in others, without apparent cause. The rails disappear into it at their far ends. The ties become less distinct. The crushed zone becomes a suggestion rather than a visible surface. You walk back through the yard. Your feet find the spaces between tracks without thinking. Your body has learned the spacing, the rhythm. Track, then space, then track. The pattern repeats. A signal stands beside one of the tracks. Tall post. Mechanical arm. During operation, the arm would raise or lower, indicating whether a train could proceed or must stop. The position of the arm carries meaning, communicates intention, controls movement. But now the arm is just a shape. In one position or another, you cannot tell which in the darkness. Its meaning is irrelevant without trains to see it, without movement to control. You pass a coal car, low-sided, open to the air, empty now, but the residue of coal remains, dust coating the interior surfaces, small pieces caught in corners. The smell is strong here. Coal, mineral, ancient organic matter compressed and burned, and leaving its trace everywhere. The car's wheels are different from the freight car's wheels, smaller, designed for different loads. But the same principles apply. Iron on iron, gravity and friction. Physics of movement reduced to simple mechanical facts. You find a bench on one of the platforms, wooden slats, iron frame. A place for workers to sit during breaks, for passengers to wait for trains. You sit. The wood is cold, but you sit anyway. From here, you can see much of the yard, the parallel lines of tracks, the scattered cars, the distant buildings, the gas lamps creating small pools of light, the mist thickening slowly, rising, beginning to obscure the lower portions of everything. A sound reaches you. Distant, muffled. A train somewhere far away, not approaching, not in this yard. Just somewhere in the industrial city, or beyond it. A locomotive moving, steam escaping, wheels turning on rails. The sound carries through the night, but does not come closer. It remains distant, a reminder that the pause is temporary, that movement will resume, that the rails will not stay empty forever. But that is elsewhere. That is later. Here, now, the rail yard is still. The tracks wait. The cars wait. The infrastructure remains ready, maintained, prepared for the work that will come tomorrow. You stand, walk back toward the factory buildings. The mist is ankle-deep now, creating the illusion that you are wading through something, though you feel nothing but air. The tracks emerge from the mist and disappear into it, creating a strange effect of partial visibility, a fragmentation of the world divided into layers. The rail yard recedes behind you. The tracks continue. The empty cars remain. The signals hold their positions. All of it waiting in darkness, in mist, in the hours between shifts, between purpose and rest, between the day that was and the day that will be. The air is changing, not suddenly, not dramatically, just gradually thickening, becoming visible, transforming from the transparent medium you move through into something you can see, something that has presence and texture and weight. Smoke rises from chimneys throughout the industrial city, not thick smoke, not the heavy black clouds of furnaces in full operation, just thin gray wisps, the residual burning of banked fires, of coals kept alive through the night, of heating systems that continue even when the work has stopped. The smoke rises because smoke rises. Heat carries it upward, but it does not rise far before it meets the cool night air, before its upward momentum is arrested, before it begins to spread horizontally rather than vertically. And the smoke is not alone. Moisture is condensing. The temperature is falling to the point where air can no longer hold all its water as vapor. The invisible becomes visible. Fog forms. But this is not natural fog, not pure fog. This is fog mixed with smoke, moisture mixed with coal residue, water mixed with the particulate matter that fills the air of the industrial city. The result is something between fog and smoke, something that is both and neither. You stand in the street between factory buildings. The air around you is becoming opaque, not solid, not impenetrable, just increasingly difficult to see through. The gas lamps that were clear points of light minutes ago are now blurred, haloed, each lamp surrounded by a diffuse glow that extends beyond the lamp itself, the light scattered by the thousands of tiny droplets and particles suspended in the air. You walk toward one of the lamps. The light grows brighter as you approach, but it never becomes sharp, never resolves into the clear flame you know is inside the glass globe. The air itself is luminous now, lit from within by the diffused light, creating a sphere of orange visibility that fades gradually into darkness. Inside this sphere, you can see perhaps 10 feet, maybe 15, the brick walls of the buildings, the cobblestones beneath your feet, the iron fixtures on the walls. Everything closer than that is visible, though softened, though seen through a translucent veil. Beyond that distance, shapes become suggestions. You can see that a building is there, but not its details. You can see that the street continues, but not where it goes. The world is reduced to layers, the clear, the obscured, the invisible. You continue walking. Each gas lamp creates its own sphere of visibility. You move from one sphere to the next, from light into dimness, into darkness, into another sphere of light. The pattern repeats, but now the darkness between lamps is deeper, more complete, because the fog prevents light from traveling far. The buildings around you are dissolving. That is what it looks like, as if the brick is slowly fading, becoming less solid, less real. The upper portions of buildings disappear entirely. Windows that you know are there become invisible. The industrial city is being erased from the bottom up, consumed by the thickening air. But it is not being erased, it is only hidden. The buildings remain, the walls stand, the windows exist. You simply cannot see them. The fog creates a false intimacy, reducing your world to only what is immediately present, removing everything else from awareness. You hear footsteps, someone approaching, but you cannot see them yet. The sound arrives before the sight. Boots on cobblestones, steady rhythm, growing louder. A figure emerges from the fog, not all at once. First a vague shape, then definition, then a person becomes clear, a worker perhaps, or a watchman, someone moving through the night for reasons of their own. They pass you without speaking, eye contact, maybe a nod. Then they continue, and within seconds they are dissolving back into the fog, becoming shape, becoming suggestion, becoming invisible. The fog smells coal. That is the dominant smell. The mineral scent of coal smoke mixed with moisture. But there are other smells too. Oil, metal, brick dust. The accumulated scents of industry, all of them suspended in the droplets. All of them released slowly as you breathe. You reach a corner where two streets meet. Normally, you could see down both streets, could assess distances, could choose a direction based on what you see, but now both streets disappear into fog within a few yards. The choice becomes abstract. Left or right. Both look the same. Both lead into obscurity. You choose right. The street slopes downward slightly. You can feel it in your legs, in the way your weight shifts with each step. The fog is thicker here, in the low place, pooling like water pools, collecting where gravity pulls it. A building looms suddenly to your left. You did not see it until you were nearly beside it. The brick wall appears out of the fog, solid and abrupt, closer than you expected. You adjust your path, moving toward the center of the street, away from the unexpected solidity. The gas lamps are fewer here, or perhaps they are simply farther apart. Or perhaps some of them have been turned off. The result is the same, longer stretches of near-complete darkness between the islands of light. You move slowly. There is no hurry, cannot be hurry. The fog prevents it, forces patience, forces attention to each step, each movement, each decision. A sound reaches you, water, dripping or flowing, you cannot tell. The fog distorts sound the way it distorts vision, makes near things seem far, and far things seem near. You follow the sound. It grows clearer, a downspout. Rain from earlier running off a roof, through gutters, down a pipe, splashing onto cobblestones. You find it. Waspout creates a small stream in the gutter, flowing along the edge of the street, moving downhill, finding its path. The water is dark, reflecting nothing, just moving because water moves downhill, and will continue moving until it reaches wherever water goes in this city. The fog is denser now. You can taste it, not unpleasant, not clean, just present. Moisture and coal, and the industrial city's breath made visible, made tangible, made into something you move through rather than simply exist in. You think about breathing, about how the air you breathe has substance now, is not just oxygen and nitrogen, but also water and coal dust, and all the microscopic particles released by a day of industrial work. You breathe it in. It enters your lungs, becomes part of you, temporarily, until you exhale and release it back into the air. A window glows ahead. Orange light made soft by the fog, diffused until it seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. You approach. The window resolves slowly. Glass, curtain, pulled aside. A room inside lighted by a gas lamp or a fire. You cannot see details, just light, just warmth suggested. You do not stop. You pass the window. It fades behind you, swallowed again by the fog, existing now only in memory and in the knowledge that it is still there, still glowing, even though you can no longer see it. The street levels out, widens. You sense open space around you, though you cannot see it. The fog creates a ceiling, a sense of enclosure even in the open. The air above you is as opaque as the air around you. Sky and ground merged into continuous obscurity. You stop walking, stand still. The fog moves around you, not wind, not breeze. Just the slow circulation of air, the mixing of warm and cool, of moist and dry, creating currents that are barely perceptible but present. The industrial city has become a different place. The solidity of brick and iron and stone is hidden. What remains is atmosphere, texture, the sensory experience of moisture and smell and limited vision. The city has been transformed from a place of hard edges and clear boundaries into something softer, more ambiguous, more dreamlike. But the city itself has not changed. The buildings stand. The streets extend. The gas lamps burn. The fog is temporary, a condition, a state that will lift with temperature change or wind or the rising of the sun. For now, though, the fog holds. The smoke continues to rise and mix and spread. The moisture continues to condense. And the industrial city exists in this state of partial visibility, of suggested presence, of things known to be there but unseen. You begin walking again, slowly, carefully, following the street, because the street is all you can follow. The fog has removed all other reference points, all other guides. There is only forward, only the next few feet, only what is immediately visible. Smoke becoming fog, fog mixed with smoke. The industrial city breathing itself into the air, becoming its own atmosphere, creating the medium through which you move. The fog begins to thin as you move away from the factories, not clearing, not spading entirely, just thinning enough that you can see farther, that shapes become more distinct, that the world expands beyond the immediate few feet. You have entered a residential area. The streets here are narrower, the buildings closer together, row houses built one against the next, sharing walls, creating continuous facades of brick that extend the length of the block. Houses are identical in structure, 2 stories, narrow fronts, small windows, doors that open directly onto the street, without porches or stoops, built quickly, built efficiently, built to house the workers who labor in the factories you have just left. But identical in structure does not mean identical in presence. Each house shows signs of the people who live inside. A curtain in one window, a different curtain in the next, a doorstep scrubbed clean, another doorstep showing the accumulation of coal dust and street dirt. Small differences that mark individuality within uniformity. Windows glow, not all of them. Many of the houses are dark, their occupants already asleep. But some windows show light, warm orange from gas lamps or candles, or fires still burning inside. You walk slowly along the street. The cobblestones here are smaller than in the factory district. Cheaper, more worn. Mortar between them has eroded in places, leaving gaps, creating an uneven surface that catches your feet if you are not careful. Laundry hangs between buildings, lying strung from one house to another, crossing the narrow space of the street. Shirts, dresses, undergarments, all of them motionless in the still air, damp from washing earlier in the day, drying slowly in the cold night. The laundry is dark. You cannot see colors, cannot distinguish one garment from another clearly. Just shapes hanging, fabric holding its form, sleeves hanging empty, legs hanging empty, suggesting bodies that are not there. You pass beneath the laundry. It hangs just above head height. You could reach up and touch it if you wanted. The fabric would be cold, damp, slightly stiff, but you do not touch it. You simply pass beneath, aware of its presence, of the domestic routine it represents. A door opens ahead. Light spills into the street, bright, sudden. A figure appears in the doorway. A woman, perhaps, or a man, you cannot tell. They step out, throw something into the street, water from a basin probably, then retreat inside. The door closes. The light vanishes. The street returns to dimness. You reach the spot where the water was thrown. It darkens the cobblestones, spreads into the cracks, begins the slow process of draining away or evaporating. By morning, it will be gone. For now, it simply is, evidence of someone completing a task, ending their day, preparing for sleep. More windows glow. You can see into some of them if you look, though you try not to look directly. These are private spaces, rooms where people live, where families gather, where the day ends and rest begins. But glimpses are unavoidable. A kitchen, a table, chairs, a figure moving across the room. Another room showing a fire burning in a small grate, the flames visible through the window, providing light and warmth. Another window curtained, but the curtain thin enough that you can see shadows moving behind it. Boots rest outside several doors, work boots, heavy, caked with mud or coal dust, or whatever material the wearer walked through during their shift. The boots are placed carefully, deliberately, not to be brought inside, not to track dirt into the house. They will be picked up in the morning, put on again, worn again, dirtied again. The boots are empty, but they hold the shape of feet, leather molded by years of use, worn at specific points where toes bend, where heels strike the ground, where the weight of walking has compressed the material. Each pair is individual, showing the unique pattern of its wearer's movement. You think about the people inside, workers who spent the day in the factories you walked through, who operated the machines you saw at rest, who walked the corridors you walked, but during different hours with different purposes. Now they are home, washing, eating, sitting by fires, talking or not talking. Children playing or preparing for bed. The domestic routines that parallel the industrial routines. The small rituals of family life unfolding in these narrow houses, while the factories stand empty and quiet. You hear a child crying, brief, sharp, then a voice, soothing, too soft to make out words. The crying stops. Silence returns. The sound came from above, from a second-story window, a bedroom, a child being settled for sleep. The houses are cold. You can sense it. These are not well-insulated structures. Brick walls with minimal thickness, single-pane windows, gaps around doors and frames where drafts enter freely. The fires burning inside provide warmth, but only in the rooms where they burn. The rest of the house accepts the cold, holds it, becomes nearly as cold as the outside air. People sleep in layers here. Heavy blankets, wool clothing kept on, bodies pressed together for warmth. The cold is not a crisis. It is simply a condition. Something to endure, to adapt to accept as part of life. You pass a house with no light showing. The windows are dark. The door is closed. But you can see a faint glow from the chimney. Not flame, not smoke. Just the subtle illumination of coals, still burning inside, maintained through the night so fire can be quickly revived in the morning. A cat appears, thin, moving close to the walls. It glances at you, assesses you, decides you are not a threat or not interesting, continues on its path. The cat knows these streets, knows the doorways where scraps might be found, knows the warm spots where heat escapes from buildings, knows how to survive in the spaces between human lives. The street curves, you follow it. More row houses, more glowing windows, more signs of life contained behind brick walls, held inside domestic spaces, continuing privately, while the industrial city rests publicly. A conversation drifts from an open window. Two voices, low. You cannot hear words, cannot understand the topic, just the rhythm of exchange. Someone speaking, someone responding. The basic pattern of human communication. The sound is companionable, comfortable, not argument, not urgency. Just two people talking at the end of a long day. The machines rest because people rest. That is the truth of it. The factories are empty because the people who work in them need to sleep. The machines stand idle because human bodies require rest. The entire industrial system, with all its complexity and scale, is subject to the simple biological fact that people cannot work continuously, and so the night exists, not as interruption, not as obstacle, but as necessity, as the time when bodies recover, when energy is restored, when the capacity to continue is rebuilt. The workers in these houses will wake in hours, will dress in the dark or by candlelight, will eat quick breakfasts, will pick up the boots waiting outside their doors, will walk through these streets toward the factories, will enter the gates, will take their positions at machines, will begin again, but that is hours away. For now, they rest behind closed doors, in rooms lit by gas or candles, or nothing at all, in beds that are narrow and hard but sufficient, with families close around them because space is limited and closeness is necessity. You reach the end of the residential street. The houses stop. The street widens. You are at a boundary between the workers' district and something else, another factory area perhaps, or shops, or a market square. You look back the way you came. The row houses extend into darkness, windows glowing here and there, laundry hanging, boots waiting. The accumulated evidence of lives lived in proximity, of people existing side by side, sharing walls, sharing streets, sharing the experience of industrial labor and industrial rest. The street is quiet now. The conversation has ended. The child has fallen asleep. The doors remain closed. The windows glow steadily, not brightening or dimming, just holding their level of light until someone decides to extinguish them. You turn away, move into the next area. The Zerster streets remain behind you, settling deeper into night, holding their population of sleeping people, waiting for morning when movement will resume and the cycle will begin again. You find yourself in a smaller workshop, not part of the main factory floor, something more specialized, more intimate in scale. The room is not large, perhaps 20 feet square. A single gas lamp burns near the entrance, turned low, providing just enough light to navigate by. The rest of the space exists in shadow, in gradations of visibility. Workbenches line 2 walls. Heavy wood, scarred and stained. The benches are different heights, built for different purposes, for different kinds of work. One is lower, easier to stand at for extended periods. Another is higher, positioned for more detailed work, for tasks that require precision. Tools rest on the benches, not scattered, not abandoned carelessly, placed deliberately. Returned to their proper positions at the end of the shift, you approach the nearest bench. A set of wrenches lies in a row, graduated sizes, each one clean, the metal wiped free of oil and dirt. The wrenches are arranged precisely, smallest to largest, creating a pattern, an order that makes the next day's work easier. Beside the wrenches, a hammer, not a large hammer, a mechanic's hammer. Smooth head, wooden handle worn smooth by hands. The hammer rests head down, handle pointing upward, ready to be grasped, ready to be used. You pick up the hammer. It is heavier than it looks. The weight is deliberate, necessary for the work it does. The handle fits comfortably in your hand, the wood worn to a shape that accommodates gripping, that feels natural even though your hand is not the hand that shaped it. You set the hammer down, exactly where it was, the same position, the same angle. A vise is mounted at the end of the bench, iron, opened slightly, the jaws separated by an inch or two. Whatever was held in the vise during the day has been removed. The vise simply waits, ready to grip, ready to hold whatever needs to be held tomorrow. The jaws of the vise show marks, scratches, small dents, evidence of the things that have been clamped here. Each mark is a record of work done, of metal or wood held firmly while tools worked on it. You turn the handle of the vise. The screw rotates. The jaws close slowly, smoothly, the threads engaging precisely, the mechanism functioning as designed. You stop before the jaws touch. Leave the vise as you found it, open, ready. On the opposite bench, a collection of smaller tools, files, different sizes, different grades of teeth. Each file has a wooden handle, each handle darkened by years of use, by the oils from hands, by the accumulated contact of someone gripping, working, applying pressure. The files are arranged by size, largest on the left, smallest on the right. The order is consistent with the wrenches. Since one likes order, someone finds comfort or efficiency in organization. Someone takes the time, at the end of every shift, to return tools to their proper places. An oil can sits near the files, tin, long spout, the kind used for precise application, for putting oil exactly where it needs to be without excess. The can is nearly full. You can tell by the weight when you lift it slightly. The oil inside moves, sloshes gently, settles again when you set the can down. The oil is for maintenance, for keeping moving parts moving, for preventing rust, for extending the life of metal surfaces that rub against each other. The oil is essential, unremarkable, constantly needed. Rags are folded and stacked nearby, not clean rags. These are work rags, stained with oil and dirt and metal residue, but they are folded, stacked neatly. Even the dirty rags are organized, given their place, treated with care. You notice a wooden toolbox beneath one of the benches, painted green, or it was once painted green. The paint is worn now, chipped, showing bare wood in places. The box has metal corners, reinforced, designed to withstand being moved, being handled roughly, being dropped occasionally. You open the box. The hinges creak slightly. Inside, more tools. Smaller tools. Screwdrivers with various heads. Pliers of different types. A small saw. Drill bits organized in a wooden holder. Each tool in its place. Each tool clean and ready. This is someone's personal toolbox, not the company's tools. The worker's own tools, brought from home or accumulated over years, maintained carefully because they represent investment, because they are necessary for earning a living, because they are, in a sense, extensions of the worker's own hands. You close the box. The lid settles into place. The clasps click shut. The box returns to being a closed container, keeping its contents safe, keeping them organized, keeping them ready for tomorrow. A ledger sits on a small desk in the corner, closed. A pencil lies across it. The ledger records something: materials used, time spent, parts completed, whatever accounting this workshop requires. But the day's entries are complete. The ledger is closed. The numbers will wait until tomorrow to accumulate further. You notice a clock on the wall. The same kind you saw earlier in the other building. Round face, simple numbers, hands pointing to a specific time. Late, after 11. The day ended hours ago, but time continues to pass, moving toward midnight, toward morning, toward the moment when work will resume. The clock ticks. You had not heard it before, but now, listening, you hear it. A soft, regular sound. Tick, tick, mechanical, constant. The clock does not rest, does not sleep. Just continues its movement, its measurement, its patient counting of seconds, into minutes, into hours, You think about completion, about the act of finishing work, not just stopping, not just walking away, but actively completing cleaning tools, organizing them, wiping down surfaces, closing ledgers, the rituals that mark the end of a shift. These rituals matter. They are not wasted time. They are the transition between work and rest. They are the acknowledgement that work is done, that it was done properly, that tomorrow will be easier because today ended correctly. A coat hangs on a hook near the door, heavy wool, dark, worn at the cuffs and collar. This is a work coat. It has pockets stained with oil. It has buttons missing, replaced with different buttons that do not quite match. It has been repaired, maintained, kept functional because a new coat is expensive, and this coat still does its job. You touch the coat. The wool is rough, practical, not soft. The coat is heavy, designed for warmth, for protection against cold during the walk to and from work. The coat knows the worker's shape, hangs as if a body is still inside it, the fabric holding memory of shoulders and arms. Beneath the coat, boots, different from the ones outside the workers' houses. These are workshop boots, sturdier, with reinforced toes, protected against dropped tools, against sharp metal, against the hazards specific to this kind of work. The boots are empty, but positioned as if feet might step into them at any moment. Laces loosened, but not untied, ready to be put on, ready to be worn, waiting for the person who will wear them. You move back to the center of the room. Look around at the accumulated evidence of work, the tools, the benches, the organized supplies, the careful placement of everything, the respect shown to objects, to the implements of labor. This room is not dramatic, not impressive, just functional. Just a space where work happens, where skilled hands use tools to accomplish tasks that are necessary but unglamorous. But there is dignity here, in the organization, in the care, in the completion of work and proper ending of the day, in the understanding that tools matter, that they deserve attention, that treating them well is part of treating oneself and one's work with respect. The gas lamp flickers slightly. The flame dips, recovers. The light wavers across the walls, creating moving shadows, then stabilizes again. You turn toward the door. Time to leave this space, to let it rest as the tools rest, as the workers rest. The room will be here tomorrow. The tools will be here. The work will be here. But not now. Now is for rest, for silence, for the pause that makes continuation possible. You extinguish the lamp, turn the valve, the gas flow stops. The flame shrinks, flickers, goes out. Darkness fills the room immediately, completely. You find your way to the door by memory. By the faint light from outside, you exit, close the door behind you. The workshop returns to complete darkness, complete stillness, holding its tools, holding its purpose, waiting patiently for morning. You stand in the street and listen. The silence is different here, deeper than you expected, more complete. This is not the absence of sound. It is the absence of a specific kind of sound that you did not realize you were expecting until it was not there. There is no hum, no constant electrical vibration, no buzz of current flowing through wires, no fluorescent flicker, no transformer hum, no refrigeration compressor cycling, no electronic devices charging or processing, or simply existing in standby mode. The night is thicker here. Not darker necessarily. The gas lamps provide light. Windows glow. The moon, when visible through the fog, illuminates. but thicker, as if the air itself has more substance, as if the darkness has weight that settles on everything. You walk slowly through the industrial district. The factories rise on either side, their windows mostly dark now, their chimneys releasing only thin wisps of smoke. The buildings are silent in a way that modern buildings never are. No ventilation systems running, no air conditioning, no heating units with blowers and fans, no elevators humming in shafts, no security systems beeping, no automatic lights sensing motion. Just buildings, just brick and iron and wood, just structure standing in darkness. The silence carries weight. You can feel it, not oppressive, not threatening, just present. The silence is not empty space, waiting to be filled. It is its own thing, its own substance, something that exists rather than something that is merely absent. You pass a factory gate, iron, closed, locked with a chain and padlock. The chain is thick, each link formed and welded. The padlock is iron, heavy, operated with a key that someone carries, that someone will use tomorrow to open this gate and allow work to resume. But the security is simple, mechanical, physical. There are no keypads, no card readers, no biometric scanners, no cameras recording, no motion sensors, no central monitoring system. Just the lock and a key and the understanding that some barriers are sufficient without being sophisticated. You think about communication, about how in this world you cannot speak to someone who is not present, cannot call them, cannot text them, cannot send a message that will arrive instantly. If you need to tell someone something, you must go to where they are, or send someone else to go, or write a letter and wait for it to be delivered. Days, weeks. The message traveling at the speed of horses or trains or ships. The distance between people is absolute. When someone leaves, they are gone, unreachable, existing somewhere else, but disconnected from you completely until you are physically reunited. The isolation is not loneliness. It is simply reality. People adapt. Relationships exist within the constraints. Life continues, structured by the impossibility of instant connection. You continue walking. The fog has thickened again. Or perhaps you have entered a section where it pools more deeply. Either way, visibility is reduced. The gas lamps are blurred. The buildings are suggestions rather than clear forms. The night is quieter than any night you have experienced, not because less is happening, but because what is happening makes less noise. No cars, no engines idling, no horns, no tire noise on pavement, just footsteps when someone walks, just voices when someone speaks. Just the organic sounds of human presence and animal movement, and weather interacting with physical structures. A horse-drawn cart passes. You hear it before you see it. The sound of hooves on cobblestones, the creak of wooden wheels, the jingle of harness fittings. The cart emerges from the fog, solid and real, pulled by a single horse. A man sits on the driver's seat, holding reins, guiding the horse through streets he probably knows by memory. The cart passes. The sounds fade. The fog swallows it. You are alone again. You think about light, about how, in this world, darkness is final. When the sun sets, it sets completely. The gas lamps help. Candles help. Fires help. But they create islands of light in oceans of darkness. They do not eliminate night. They only punctuate it. When you leave a lighted area, you enter darkness, real darkness. The kind where you cannot see your hand in front of your face. The kind where you must move slowly, carefully, by feel and memory and hope. People stay inside at night, not because of fear necessarily, but because moving through darkness is difficult and dangerous, because streets are uneven, because obstacles are invisible, because the simple act of walking becomes hazardous when you cannot see. So night means stopping, means staying where you are, means accepting that the world has contracted to the small space around your lamp or fire, means waiting for morning to expand the world again. You reach a bridge, stone, arched. Crossing a canal or a small river, water flows beneath. Though you cannot see it, you can only hear it. The constant soft rush of current moving over stones, around obstacles, continuing its journey toward wherever water goes. You stop on the bridge, lean against the stone railing, look down towards the sound of water, see nothing, just darkness, just suggestion of movement heard but not seen. The stone is cold, rough, damp from fog. The bridge has been here for years. Decades perhaps, built before you were born, will be here after you are gone. The stone does not care about human timescales. It exists in its own time, measured in centuries and millennia. Silence holds everything here, not the silence of absence, the silence of presence that does not need to announce itself. The silence of things existing without comment, without broadcast, without the constant declaration of their function and status. The machines do not send signals, do not report their condition, do not communicate with central systems. They simply are, working when operated, still when not, present but not connected. The buildings do not monitor themselves, do not adjust temperatures automatically, do not sense occupancy, do not optimize energy use. They simply stand, contain space, provide shelter, exist as passive structures. The city does not coordinate itself. There is no traffic control, no synchronized signals, no central planning, responding in real time to conditions. Just people making individual decisions, moving through space according to their own purposes, creating patterns through aggregate behavior rather than directed organization. You leave the bridge. Continue walking. The streets curve and branch. You follow them without destination, without purpose beyond movement itself. A church appears, or a chapel, stone walls, Gothic windows, a tower rising above the surrounding buildings. The windows are dark. The building is closed, silent. Whatever purpose it serves during the day is suspended now, but the building itself has presence. Even dark, even silent, the stone holds something, history, intention, the accumulated prayers and gatherings of years or centuries. The building is not just structure, it is repository, container human meaning. You pass it. The building remains, holding its darkness, holding its silence, holding whatever it holds. The industrial city at night is a world running on simple principles. Fire provides heat and light. Water provides power and cleaning. Gravity provides movement. Human and animal muscle provides force. The principles are fundamental, unchanging, limited but sufficient. There is no electricity humming through this world. No invisible energy flowing through wires, powering devices, creating the constant background vibration that characterizes modern existence. The silence is complete in a way that silence can no longer be in a world of electrical infrastructure. And in that silence, you can hear other things, your own breathing, your own footsteps, the wind when it moves, the water when it flows, the organic sounds of a world where everything that makes noise does so through direct physical action. Nothing beeps here. Nothing buzzes electronically. Nothing hums with electrical current. The night is purely acoustic. Sounds arrive unamplified, unmediated, unprocessed. What you hear is what is actually happening, not what is being broadcast or reproduced. You think about how this changes existence, how the absence of electrical connection creates a different kind of presence, how being unreachable is not a problem, but simply a fact, how darkness is not something to be eliminated, but something to be accepted and navigated, and eventually waited out. The industrial world is vast and complex and powerful, but it is not electric. It is mechanical. Steam and iron, gears and levers, force applied through physical systems. Power that you can see, that you can understand by watching parts move. The night is thicker here because it is not interrupted by constant information, constant connectivity, constant availability. The night is allowed to be night, to be dark, to be quiet, to be the time when work stops and rest begins, and the world contracts to the small space around each individual fire. You walk on through the fog, through the darkness, through the silence that carries weight. The industrial city breathes slowly around you, waiting for morning, waiting for the fires to be rebuilt, waiting for the machines to wake, but not yet, not now. Now is deep night. Now is silence. Now is the world without electric hum, without constant connection, without anything except the fundamental presence of stone and iron and water and air. The fog is beginning to thin, not clearing, not dissipating completely, just thinning at its highest layers, becoming translucent rather than opaque, allowing the faintest suggestion of sky to show through. The darkness is changing too. Still dark, still night, but the quality is different, less absolute, less final. The darkness of late night rather than deep night. The darkness that knows morning is approaching. Even if morning is not yet here, you have been walking for hours, or it feels like hours. Time has become uncertain, measured only by the gradual changes in atmosphere, in light, in the sense of the city around you. The gas lamps are dimmer now. Some have burned through their fuel. Others have been turned down deliberately, conserved for the remaining hours until dawn makes them unnecessary. The pools of light they create are smaller, fainter, less distinct from the surrounding darkness. You find yourself at the edge of the industrial district, where the factories end and open land begins. Fields perhaps, or wasteland, or simply the boundary where development stops and raw earth continues. The sky is visible here, more visible than in the narrow streets between buildings. You look up. The fog extends upward, but not infinitely. Somewhere above it, stars exist, but you cannot see them. Just the glow of the fog itself, lit from within by whatever ambient light exists, creating a luminous ceiling. The air is colder now, the coldest point of night. The temperature has been falling for hours, and this is the bottom, the nadir, the moment of deepest cold before the slow warming toward dawn begins. You can see your breath, barely. Thin clouds of vapor that form and dissipate immediately. Your body is warm enough to create the vapor. The air is cold enough to make it visible. The sub-boundary between the two creating momentary evidence of breathing. Behind you, the industrial city extends. Factories and warehouses and workshops on all the infrastructure of production. Miles of buildings, thousands of machines, hundreds of thousands of parts and tools and materials, all of it still, all of it waiting, The steam is completely gone now. Hours ago, it was still escaping from pipes, from vents, from joints in the system, but the pressure has equalized completely. The water has cooled. The pipes hold only air now, cold and still. By morning, when the fires are lit again, when the boilers begin to heat, the steam will return. But not yet. The machines will wake again. You know this. This pause is not permanent. The stillness is temporary. In hours, workers will return. Gates will open. Fires will be lit. Steam will build. Machines will begin to move. But that is hours away. That is tomorrow. That is the future that is certain, but not yet present. Now is still night, still pause, still the time between. A bird calls, distant, faint, not a song, just a single note, testing, checking. One bird waking before others, before dawn, calling into darkness without answer. The bird is early, or restless, or confused by the gas lamps into thinking morning is closer than it is. The call comes once, twice, then stops. Silence returns. You think about cycles, about how this night is one night in an endless series, how yesterday there was a day and a night, how tomorrow there will be another, how the pattern repeats without variation, without exception, without end. The industrial world operates in this cycle: work and rest, day and night, heat and cold, movement and stillness. The cycle cannot be broken, cannot be modified. It is as fundamental as the rotation of the earth, as inevitable as sunrise and sunset. People sleep now in their narrow houses, bodies at rest, breathing slowly, dreaming or not dreaming, unconscious or nearly so, repairing, recovering, preparing for another day of labor. The machines rest too, in their way, not sleeping, not conscious, but still, released from use, allowed to exist without purpose. The metal cooling, the gears unmoving, the systems returning to equilibrium. Even the city itself rests. The streets empty, the buildings dark, the activity and noise and constant movement of the working day suspended completely. The city exists, but does not act, holds its form, but performs no function. You begin walking back toward the center of the industrial district, retracing your path or finding new paths that lead to the same place. It does not matter. The streets all connect. All lead somewhere. The fog is definitely thinner now. You can see farther. The gas lamps are more distinct. The buildings show more detail. The world is expanding slowly, revealing itself incrementally as the fog releases its hold. The sky is lighter, not light, but lighter. The black of full night is becoming the dark gray of pre-dawn. The change is subtle, almost imperceptible, but it is happening. Time is moving. Dawn is approaching. You pass a factory you recognize, or think you recognize. The same brick walls, the same iron gate, the same courtyard beyond. You are returning to where you started, or somewhere near where you started. The journey is completing itself. A watchman appears. You had not seen a watchman all night, but here one is. An old man moving slowly, carrying a lantern. He nods to you, does not speak, just acknowledges your presence and continues his rounds. Checking doors, checking windows, making sure the buildings are secure through the night. The watchman disappears around a corner. The light from his lantern fades. You are alone again. The gas lamps are beginning to fail, one by one, not extinguished deliberately, just running out of fuel. The flames shrink, flicker, go out. The pools of light they created vanish, absorb back into darkness, but the darkness is not as dark as it was. The sky provides some light now, faint, diffuse, but enough that the streets are visible. Enough that you can see shapes, can navigate, can move without depending entirely on artificial light. Dawn is not here yet, but its approach is certain. The sky continues to lighten. The fog continues to thin. The cold continues to deepen before it will begin to warm. You find a place to sit, a low wall near one of the factories. Stone, damp, cold. You sit anyway. Watch the sky. Watch the last gas lamps flickering. Watch the industrial city holding its pause. The promise of morning is not urgency. It is simply inevitability. The sun will rise because the sun always rises. Work will resume because work always resumes. The machines will wake because the machines are needed, and people need what machines produce. But the timing is not immediate, is not rushed. Dawn will come in its own time. The machines will wake when workers arrive to wake them. The city will resume when the cycle demands it resume. For now you sit, the stone cold beneath you, the air cold around you, the sky slowly lightening above. The industrial city breathing its last slow breaths of night before day returns, and breath becomes movement, becomes work, becomes the cycle continuing. The fog drifts past, thinner now, dissolving slowly. The moisture returning to the air as invisible vapor, the smoke dispersing. The combination that created the thick obscurity separating into its component parts. A few stars are visible now, faint, barely there, but visible through the thinning fog, through the lightening sky. Points of light that have been there all night, but are only now revealed as the layers between you and them diminish. You close your eyes for a moment. Listen, the silence is still present, still thick, still complete, in the absence of electrical hum, of modern noise, the constant background of a connected world. But within that silence, sounds are beginning, faint, distant, the city preparing to wake, a door opening somewhere, a cartwheel creaking, footsteps on cobblestones, the first workers beginning their journeys from homes to factories. You open your eyes. The sky is definitely lighter, gray now, not black. The buildings are distinct. The streets are clear. The fog is nearly gone. The night is ending. Not ended, not yet, but ending. The transition is underway. The pause is concluding. The cycle is continuing. The machines will wake again. Steam will build in the boilers. Pressure will increase in the pipes. Valves will open. Wheels will turn. Belts will move. Gears will engage. The systematic reanimation of metal and mechanism. Workers will arrive, will take their positions, will begin their tasks. The building will fill with sound, footsteps, voices, the noise of machinery starting, the hiss of steam, the clank of metal on metal. The industrial city will wake, will resume, will continue. But not now, not yet. Now is still the moment between, still the pause, still the last breath of night before day begins. You stand. Your legs are stiff from sitting. The cold has settled into your muscles. You move slowly at first, then more easily as your body warms from movement. You walk toward the gate. The iron stands closed still, but unlocked now, ready to swing open when the first workers arrive, ready to admit the day, ready to allow the cycle to continue. The sky lightens further. The horizon shows a faint glow, not the sun yet, just the promise of it. the light that precedes light. You pass through the gate into the street. The city is waking around you, not awake, but waking. The transition visible in increasing movement, in growing sound, in lights appearing in windows. The industrial night is ending. The machines are still, but not for long. The steam is cold, but warming would begin soon. The factories are empty, but workers are approaching. You walk through the last of the fog, through the last of the darkness, through the last moments of the pause that holds day and night apart. Behind you, the industrial city waits, patient, ready, holding its machinery, its systems, its capacity to produce, holding the work that will resume, the labor that will continue, the cycle that repeats endlessly. The machines will wake. They always do. But not now, not yet. Now is still night, still pause, still the moment of silence before the noise returns. The sky brightens, the fog fades, the cold holds, and you drift slowly into the pale light of approaching dawn, leaving the industrial night behind you, carrying its silence, its thickness, its weight into the gray morning that is beginning, quietly, inevitably, without announcement. The night continues until it does not, and then the day begins. But that is not now, not yet.